welcome back, viewer. I'm Sean, and this is Sean Turns Up the Volume. I just wanted to speak a little bit about the fraud stuff that's being exposed in Minnesota by Somalis. I was just watching a Cash Jordan video about it, and just massive fraud being exposed. Hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. There's like some scheme of 250 million to 300 million by
fraud. It's allegedly been carried out by members of the Somali community. Okay, hundreds of millions of dollars were stolen. This is the story we did last week. Sent back to Somalia.
They sent it out of the country.
Ended up in the hands of Al-Shabaab, a terrorist organization. That's why they're all crickets. Okay. One source even said bigger. He said that the biggest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer.
You gotta be kidding me.
Just this week, the 77th person in Minnesota was arrested in a $250 million fraud case against most of them were Somali.
So they're arresting people.
Trump, like you said, has ended
some Somali guys who were pretending to, it was like something like Feed America or something, who were pretending to run this charitable cause, making up documentation claiming that they're feeding certain amounts of people, and just robbing like the taxpayer blind with these schemes.
A massive fraud scheme uncovered in Minnesota found money intended for social services has been allegedly siphoned indirectly into the pockets of the Somali terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Somali immigrants in Minnesota have reportedly been abusing systems meant to help the most unfortunate among us, including the
Nigerian
latest federally funded autism services.
Prince
the autism fraud
email schemes where they ask for your banking information, except instead of it coming from Africa, it's like importing the scammers here so they can do it locally. Apparently, but it sounds like putting quite a bit of effort into robbing the Minnesota people, whoever's paying the tax monies that they would have been getting for their fake program. And it makes me think, like, this is one of the most obvious flaws with the whole wealth redistribution system that our government is currently engaged in at the state and federal levels, and that Democrats, that leftists want more of that.
As president, I will ensure that all mankind has its legs sawed off.
I feel like I'm attending a Democratic Socialists of America rally right here. Especially the socialists, the ones who lean socialist, who want universal basic income or universal free healthcare, housing, whatever. I mean, there's no shortage of the free things that people want.
I never thought this day would ever happen. I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. You know, if I help him, he's gonna help me.
Free. That they want the government providing for them with like this strange trusting ignorance that is like, well, even though if the government provides it, then the government can take it away. Even though if the government provides it, the government can control who gets it. Somehow the government is viewed as just wonderfully benevolent and just absolutely trustworthy.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Somehow these thoughts exist, they coexist at the same time as believing that the government under Republicans, under Trump, is just the worst thing in the world and going to hell in a handbasket. That's sad, right? This was our president for 4 years, and look at the state he's in. And the media just covered it up. Just cover it up. Just go after Trump, blame everything on Trump, cover up this. At the end of somehow, government is the most trustworthy thing and should pay for and run all aspects of our lives.
The foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
And yet at the same time, all the other parties it's the worst thing in the world. I don't get that. But like a big problem, obviously, with the wealth redistribution, you tax certain amounts of people. You tax people who are middle class, upper class, rich, you tax them more, and then you take their money and you give it away in welfare, you give it away to other countries around the world, you give it to all kinds of people who DEI didn't earn it.
I would say DEI stands for didn't earn it, but that's a separate issue.
Then it's rife to be scammed, it's rife to be stolen, it's rife to be exploited, whether the exploitation is by these Somalis in Minnesota.
We Somalians must have that confidence in ourselves that we call for the shots in the US. Omar. We call the shots.
Whether the exploitation is by governments in other countries, like trying to get the U.S. taxpayer to pay for things.
Sleep in comfort knowing I'm here to protect the interests of Somalia from inside the U.S. system.
She's in Congress.
What?
For Somalia.
That's the money handed out all over the world. It's money handed out to tens of millions of people who are on welfare, on the EBT and SNAP, and it's disincentivizing their working. And it's being handed out to all kinds of people who are scamming the system, gaming the system, and we're forced to pay for it. When it's government mandated wealth redistribution via taxes, we're being forced to pay for waste and fraud. So I go to work, I spend my time, my energy, my know-how, my knowledge, my life experience, my education, whatever. I expend these things.
Some sessions are like this.
And then the government scoops off a part of that, a part of my labor. That's how taxes work, part of my labor, and takes it and says they get to decide what they do with the money, and I don't. And they get to be the benevolent do-gooder controller of what happens with that money.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
And they get to take credit for it. And they get to, especially if you're on the left, then tell me that I'm greedy and evil because I want to get to keep and decide how it's used and spent and be responsible for the money that I make. See, I can't, my money won't be robbed of me from some scammers who are gaming the system, who have figured out how to exploit it. Whether it's welfare fraud, whether it's claiming to be a charitable organization and lying about it, faking the numbers, whatever the scheme is, whether it's the politicians themselves and enriching themselves by backing laws that are going to be beneficial for certain businesses, whether they've got stock in those businesses, whether they're going to get gifts from those businesses because of the policies that they favor, or the government contracts that end up going to businesses and they or their family members end up being on the board of those businesses. None of that can rob me if the money stays with me. Nobody can rob you of it. The government can't rob you of it if they don't take it from you and redistribute it for schemes like that. If the government was only paying for the minimal things that the government should be paying for, which should be less and less and smaller, then there wouldn't be schemes to rob us. And so when somebody's committing that fraud, like, not only am you, anybody who's going to work and paying taxes, paying income taxes in particular, paying Medicare, Social Security, and income tax, never mind state or local taxes. But not only is that money being taken ostensibly for the good. All taxpayers are being a little enslaved to pay for the common good by the barrel of a gun, by the threat of prison. Like, see how far you can push the IRS and how far they'll take it, and you'll see just how much this isn't a voluntary system. Okay, so by force compelled, but as if that wasn't already a wrong. Let's call it a necessary evil, because we're never gonna not have government and forced taxes. But you can make that more, or you can make that less. You can make that more wrong, or you can make that less wrong by shrinking that amount. But then for that money to be gained, for that money to be stolen, for that money it's supposed to be going to something good. It's supposed to be going to our fellow citizens. Instead, to be robbed, to be exploited, to be stolen by people through scamming schemes, to be sent to other countries that didn't earn it, to be sent to anybody that didn't earn it. It's just so heinous. It's just so wrong. It's just like this should outrage anybody. Like, how can you be? I just don't understand the naivety that trusts the government. Like,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Seriously. I take the fact that he develops
where did he find those
weapons of mass destruction.
Did he find those?
Very seriously.
If you have or had one of these plans,
remember this one,
before the Affordable Care Act came into law, and you really liked that plan, what we said was you could keep it. So the bottom line is that we are making the insurance market better for everybody.
We will build a great wall along the southern border.
Hey, he's back in. Maybe he'll work on that.
And Mexico will pay for the wall.
Started. From that moment, I was opposed to the effort, and I was outspoken.
Biden was opposed to the war, but
we're going to get
before
rid
he
of
was
Saddam
for it.
Hussein, and it's going to require guys like
he
you
was
in
for
uniform to be back on foot in
He
the
was for the
desert,
war.
taking
I can't believe Biden lied.
taking Saddam down.
The party have said that it was a mistake to go to Iraq in the
Whoops.
first place. But the cost of not acting
You're on video,
against
dude.
Saddam, I think, would have been much greater.
Doesn't matter.
Law, that decision is made by the official.
Wipe the
I was
hard drive with a
official.
cloth.
I made those decisions.
Why isn't she in jail?
What, like with a cloth or something? Well, no. I don't know how it works digitally at all.
Warren says her great-great-great-grandmother is Cherokee, but genealogists
Did
have
Warren
yet
ever
to
back
confirm
this-
that.
Back
Walked by
this
that
up?
picture at least 1,000 times.
Don't they call her
Remarked
Pocahontas?
that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones, like
High
all
cheekbones.
of the Indians
It's hilarious.
do, because
If
that's
a
how
conservative
she saw
said
it,
this,
and
it would sound
Can
super
certainly
racist.
supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that
This is my favorite.
the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
I think he's still in office.
We don't anticipate that.
Nell is a funny
Here's
little
Bernie.
guy, gray hair, and he really does remind you of a hippie.
Praising communists.
Why have you stopped short of calling Maduro of Venezuela a dictator?
Trump's a fascist, but an actual socialist
I
dictator.
think it's fair to say that the last election was
for him.
undemocratic.
And young
but
people
there are
love
still
Bernie.
democratic operations taking place in that country.
To China and its leadership is, if I'm not mistaken,
Praising
they have
China.
made more progress.
Got a clip of him
in
praising the
addressing
Soviet
extreme
Union
poverty
too, like
than any country in the history of civilization.
We know the government wastes just as it is, but then people exploit it as well. And so it's like, why would you want to trust them with more? I don't trust the government as far as I can throw them, which is to say, like, virtually not at all. And so I want them to have less, because, like, who should decide what my money and labor should go to more than me? Let alone, like, unchecked bureaucrats who can be scammed and exploit the system, or politicians who have their own agendas. Like
Pelosi reportedly raking in more than $130 million in profits from trading
really
stocks during her 37 years
super
in Congress.
trustworthy.
That's according to a new report by the New York Post.
It wasn't
the former
insider
House
trading.
Speaker saw a whopping return of nearly 17,000%.
Just that good.
While in office, outperforming the Dow.
Like, why would I trust any of them? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it just kind of outrages me hearing that. You go to work, you make your money, the government takes a part of it, and then people steal. The government is acting as a charitable organization, which is the governments are anything but charitable, benevolent organizations. They shouldn't be in the business of it at all, and they shouldn't be in the business of wealth redistribution. And then you find out your money's been stolen by people. On top of that, it's like the government takes it, and then somebody else comes to them with some BS and gets money given to them out of fraud, and it happens every day, and it happens to the tune of like billions of dollars. And this would be helpful and life-changing for, like, if we just kept our money, like it's money that I could choose to use charitably. It's money I could use to invest in companies that I think would do well with it. It's money that I could use towards my own retirement. Like if I wasn't forced into Social Security, I could put that money into like the S&P 500, and it would make way more than anything I would ostensibly get from whatever people are being taxed for Social Security in like 40 years. 30 years, whatever the age ends up being that they've set it to by then, however weak the payments will be by then, because they just spend it right away. It pisses me off, and it's just one of those things. It's like, suck it up, you gotta do it. There's millions of people who expect their free money to come in, who expect to just get their lives paid for as they spawn irresponsible more people. And
okay, like I said, y'all just mad. Y'all mad because y'all not on EBT. Y'all just mad because so what?
My tax dollars being
I got
put
my son
to
over here in the cut. He got his snacks
real
too
good
right
use
over
here.
there. Say hey, yeah.
We on the food stamps. Hey, stop
How
playing
many-
with us.
How many people have this kind of attitude?
Food stamps. Stop playing with us in the comments.
Yeah, we got them stamps.
Happy to throw it in our faces.
Y'all like stamps? Come get them. We
Heaven
in good
forbid
over
that
here. Y'all just mad.
Want
Y'all
our,
mad. Y'all be
Listen, and we don't
well,
judge.
that we want to
Yes,
keep our own
I
money.
have 7 kids, and I am currently pregnant
And if we
right
can,
now
at least that it would
with
be
my
used
8th child.
responsibly.
7 baby daddies and another one. I got 8 baby daddies. Yes, we're getting 3 cans
Instead,
food
we're paying
stamps.
for
Yes, we are killing it,
irresponsible
honey.
decisions.
We are killing
Ungrateful
it.
people.
No, I'm not ashamed.
People are just
I've
being
been a mom
trained to
since
live
age
off of
14. I got
the
pregnant
taxpayers
at age 14
of our
with my
system.
first child.
And then there's scammers who look at us, who look at Americans as just this stupid piggy bank by which they can just like game in every which way to get money for themselves and send back to their own countries. And then there's people on the left who just view it as like, well, we're on stolen land and exploiters, so you might as well be robbed from anyway. Like, it wasn't really yours anyway. Like, your group of people did bad things to this group of people, and so you get to get screwed on the now, so that it can be the benefit whatever which way to this other group of people who weren't, if nothing else, weren't the direct experiences of that. And there's just this is just like the standard view of the left, of people on the left. And man, I guess it's just selfish to want to keep your own money, and it makes it harder as a Christian. Like, I think there's different views on tithing. A lot of people tithe. Abraham gave 10%. Was that to Melchizedek in the Old Testament? Like, it precedes the law. There's arguments for and arguments against. You don't see tithing actually happen in the New Testament. it's interesting that it doesn't come up. But nevertheless, like to give towards to give to God, to give to God's people, to give to the church, like that, of course, that generosity, to put your wealth towards something where you're putting it towards something heavenly instead of something earthly. Like that's something that as Christians we're certainly called to do. And when you got the government taking like 30% of your paycheck, and then you pay state taxes, you might have local, there's property taxes, there's gas taxes, there's sales taxes, there's taxes on everything, there's registration fees, there's fees for this and fees for that. You end up paying probably almost as much as those like sort of socialist like countries like over in Denmark and Norway and those different countries where they pay like 50% taxes, but I don't know, maybe they get more for it. And we pay a buttload of taxes. I don't know, we've got welfare fraud, welfare culture of like just masses of deviant youth getting together and committing crimes and robbing places. And
where do you even get all these people to show up at this? It's like, come commit crimes together. This is the fruits of LBJ's Great Society. This is Democrat policies in action.
People just expecting to live on welfare, and it's awful. Anyway, that when it's skimmed off the top right there, you've got less to do with it. You've got less that you could give to charity. You've got less to give to your own faith. And you've got less to give that you could at least choose, if you could, to give to God, because it's just being taken from you. And it's like, oh, it's being used for good things. No, it's not. So much of it isn't. I don't care. It's so much of it is being wasted and exploited, and it's being used by other people. It's being used by politicians to like pad their own egos for what they're doing. Like, you take my money and then you say, well, you did something good with it. It's like, you took my money. You're a thief. I don't care what the thief does with it afterwards. I don't care if you took my money and then you did some wonderful good deed with the thing, which you take credit for at that. It started with stealing from me. Like, it started with just being wrong. That was mine. You took it, and then you did something with it. You enriched yourself if you're a politician. You used it to benefit your own political position. Like, that's messed up. That's just the way things are. But it leaves less for you. I mean, like, anybody should be for, like, lowering taxes, because, like, it means, like, you get to keep more of your own money and decide what you do with it. And yet, there's tens of millions of people, there's half the country who would argue against that. They'd rather see they'd rather see the rich person punished, even though there's always like legal loopholes and things. There's always things built in, because Congress isn't going to punish themselves. Hollywood's not going to punish themselves. The millionaires and the billionaires, I don't want to leave out the millionaires, there's lots of millionaires.
If you're a billionaire, why
Pot
are you a billionaire?
calls the kettle black.
Millionaires like to talk like as if they're not the rich and it's the billionaires that are bad. Lots of millionaires. And they're not going to screw themselves over. So they have all kinds of ways so that they're not actually paying the ridiculously high levels of taxes, even though they still end up paying proportionately more anyway. Like, you're never going to squeeze that all the juice out of that lemon. And of course, it's not what you'd want for yourself. It's like, who wants to be taxed like way more? Never mind, there's like a huge percentage of the country that ends up getting so much back from the government that even if they are paying some degree of taxes, the benefits outweigh the taxes they paid. So it's like they didn't pay taxes at all. People don't get that. Like, if you made $20,000 a year, but you got $30,000 of benefits back, I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there, like, you didn't pay taxes then. But then if you're on the left, like, you'll say, oh, those rich people need to pay more, which ends up being the middle class paying more. And it's like, tax the companies. It's like, well, companies are like these entities, but it ends up being made up of people. It's employees and customers. Like Like, oh, tax the company. Okay, the company still needs to operate, and the company still needs to make like additional money. Like, you like to get a raise. Well, a profit is the raise by which a company gets to do more with that money. It doesn't operate for free. And even staying up the status quo isn't a good way to stay in business. It's no way to grow. Everybody wants a raise. That's what a profit is to a company. It's like that extra. Oh, but profits are evil. Yeah, everybody wants to get paid more. Now, if you want a raise, but you think a company making money is bad, and a company making profits bad, why is it that you getting a raise is okay? Why is that a good thing? The only way you're going to get a raise is if a company is making that profit. But anyway, those costs end up getting passed on to the consumer. It's like, oh, I want Apple to be Microsoft, whatever. I want them to be taxed more. Tax Elon. Tax Tesla more. Oh, you tax them more. Okay. So to pay those taxes, then they just have to raise the cost of things. Or maybe forego giving people raises and things. Like, oh, well, they should, well, tax them more, but make it come out of the CEO's paycheck. Like never mind that if you took all of the CEO's money, it really doesn't go very far. Never mind that harsh reality. If you took like all the rich people's money, then you took all their money away. If you thieved from all of them and took all their money away, it's nothing compared to the trillions of dollars of the annual government budget. Like the U.S. government would spend all the rich people's money like real quick, and it would be gone, and then it would just be gone.
This some real pretty shit now, man. It's game over, man. It's game over.
Never mind that most of rich people's money is tied up in like stock, and investments and land and different things like that, and assets and things. Like it's not, Elon Musk doesn't have like $250 billion of cash in his account.
I gotta do it, man.
And you know what? What I don't get about the anger against the rich is like, well, if somebody's rich, if somebody can buy a $300 million yacht, like that's jobs for the yacht builder. That's jobs for the boat builder, for the electrician, for the engineer, that's jobs for the people who are going to staff the boat. That's jobs for the people who are going to make the food that's going to be eaten on the boat. Like that's all kinds of things that if you punish that rich person into oblivion, then you're not going to have anybody buying yachts. So you're not going to be able, all those jobs are going to go away. Rich people are spending money, and then you get the benefit because you get to sell stuff to them. You get to do the jobs for them. So you benefit from that. Like, they're not like Scrooge McDuck sitting on $100 billion of gold coins or something.
There's only one thing better than
I think this is what leftists really think that billionaires do with their money.
And it's just in their vault, not being used. Like it's either being spent, and that's a good thing for the economy, or it's tied up in businesses, and then that's a good thing for the economy. That's growing wealth. That's providing jobs and different things for people. And just to be fair, even if somebody did have $100 billion of a mountain of gold coins and treasures in a vault, like they earned it. They can do that with it. If you've got $1,000 that you hide under your pillow, same thing. Nobody gets to tell you. Nobody has to go, well, there's people out there where it would take them a year to grow $1,000, and when you've got it hidden under your pillow, you owe them just cuz.
Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business,
the government builds roads, so I guess you didn't build your business.
Somebody else
deserve
made
your
that
profits. High roll.
Just cuz, and we'll make up some excuse about some systemic historical wrong or something so that we can steal from you right now.
We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education.
Here's Kamala on the trope that
and we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country.
Racism.
Like that's the thinking. Oh well, it gets to a certain amount of money, then you just kind of owe it to other people. Then the money that you earned, it's framed as theft. This is just, it's covetousness, it's greed. It's just the other side of greed. It's like, it's easy to call the rich person greedy, but actually poor people, all people, are greedy themselves. Greed is in all of us, and being of a lower class or being impoverished or being on welfare or anything doesn't mean you don't still have the capacity to be greedy. And that's at the heart of the socialism and the wealth redistribution, of the envy of the billionaires and wanting to dictate how they use their money, and wanting big government to go and take theirs. Never mind how it screws everybody, no matter how it puts us all under the thumb of the government. It's driven by covetousness, by envy, by greed, by comparison. Like, they have something, it must have been stolen from me. I must deserve it in some way. Anyway, those are my thoughts. This is just a rant in the car session today. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you like this kind of thing, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.